Hi, I'm Coach Pav and welcome to this in-depth demo of the HumanGO app.
So we're going to start on the home screen. As you can see at the top, Hugo has left me a little message about the workout of the day. This is going to change. It's going to change depending on the time of the day, what you've got on, your completed activities, many different things. So make sure you come back and see what Hugo's got to say. Above that, you can see a little bell icon. This is a notifications. And then to the right of that, it's the messages icon. You can come in here and you can see all the people you've had communications with. Here's an example with Hugo sending me information on my last week of training. But also, see, yesterday I asked Hugo a question about my nutrition and Hugo gave me this answer. So Hugo's going to be a real valuable resource for you. Ask various different questions, ask how the app works and stuff like that. So below this is the workouts carousel. You're going to see all your workouts from today and tomorrow. As you complete them, you'll also see completed activity cards here. You can click on them, open them up, go through them. This is obviously one to be completed for me later. See all of the steps, all the detail around that. You can change the measurement depending on the sport. At the bottom, you can see a start workout button, so you can click that to use the workout player to complete. If for whatever reason you completed it but the data was gone, you can toggle mark as complete. And to the top right, you'll see 3 vertical dots. Opens up a menu specific to this workout. I'm going to go through this later when I show you this on the plan screen. So if for whatever reason you need to take a day off, you can just toggle that and that does that for you. I'm going to show you in detail on the plan screen later how to make more changes than just taking the day off as well. So as I scroll down, you can see the suggested for you carousel. The first thing on this is to mark how you are feeling today. This plus the feedback that you give Hugo after completing an activity in the activity card and any data that you're syncing from a wearable such as heart rate variability, resting heart rate and sleep. This informs the fatigue detection model. And as these trend negatively, if they do trend negatively, you might have Hugo send you a message suggesting you take a day off. Your suggested for you carousel might look a little bit different to this. It's going to depend on how much of the app you have set up in your settings and anything else that's going on. Below this, you can see the groups area. Now this will depend on if you're a member of a group or not. If you're not, I welcome you to click the social icon in the bottom and go and find something. Groups is a great place to go and find people who are training for the same goal, have the same interests, the same sports, or are local to you. You could even create a group for your friends, colleagues, or whatever, for whoever you want to be part of that, so you can share your training journey together. As I scroll all the way down, you can also see the social feed. Now this is only going to be there if you have connection to friends within the app. Again, you can do that from social, or you can click it right from the suggested for you. Last thing on the home screen is this little configure icon in the bottom right. Clicking that opens up this little menu. I'm going to go through adding a goal later. If you've made any changes such as taking the day off, could click the replan button. Add a workout, I'm going to show you in a bit as well. And if you're sick or injured, you can do that right from this screen. This opens up this menu, add the name, select the date, whether you can train or not, and it will help you get back to full fitness as quickly as possible. So rather than going to the plan screen right now, I just want to make sure your account is fully set up. So we're going to click More. So within the My Account screen, it's going to be everything to do with your subscription. It's also going to have a lot of your personal information and stuff like that, but it doesn't really affect your experience within the app. Settings is the first place we want to go and just make sure it's all set up correctly. So the Hugo tone, we have cheery, neutral and drill sergeant. And this is basically how Hugo is going to communicate with you. So drill sergeant is dark humor. So turn it on, you're going to get a little warning. I'm going to leave it on cheery for me. Hugo tip is just stuff that Hugo is going to send you in the app. Automatic replan. Now I keep this turned off. It's up to you whether you leave it on. I leave it off because as a coach of over 10 years, I have the experience to know when I should be changing my training or not. If you don't, leave it on. Hugo's going to replan when Hugo realizes or notices that there's enough variation or difference to what you're completing versus what is planned to change. And then the rest of this is plan activity, weekly and phase feedback. Again, I showed you the weekly feedback in the chat with Hugo, just an example. And I mentioned the fatigue detection model. Having this one on is making sure that Hugo is going to let you know when Hugo thinks you need to take a day off. General settings, so coming into this, your preferred system of measurement, imperial metric, privacy distance. Now this is where we hide the first 200 yards for me from your data if you're sharing it within the app, within groups, or on your social. So if you want to hide a longer amount, you can put up to a mile. And just make sure that nobody can see your start and end point for up to a mile. Here you have the language options, so we can change through all of these. More to come soon. Those are the ones we have right now. And then, of course, notifications. Pretty simple there. If you like to use the calendar sync function, you can enter a default start time. So every workout that plans to your calendar is going to be on this time. You can change it within each workout. And of course, you can change the calendar week to start from Monday to Sunday. And lastly, if you're a Wahoo X subscriber, or if you're interested, you can actually have some Wahoo X workouts synced in your training. You just come here, and if you want all of them, all of your workouts to be Wahoo X, click all, and if you want a certain amount, you can click that through there. Once you're done, click Save. So devices and apps is where you're going to connect all of your wearables or your devices, and you can see I've got all of these connected. If you want to do any more, you can click the plus icon, and you're going to just go through, clicking on one of these. It's going to ask you to log into that specific platform, and you just do that, and you'll sync. Here, as you can see, there's different options here. So, for example, with Apple Health, I can import, or I am importing all of my health data. You might get it from, Garmin. I don't. You don't want necessarily to have it from two places. So you can choose here by, toggling on and off where you receive that. And, similarly, you can toggle on and off where you receive data from too. So as you can see, Garmin, I export my data so I can complete my workouts on Garmin, Wahoo, Apple Health, and Zwift on my connections. You could do it there. But I actually only gather data from certain places, which is Zwift and Wahoo. So sports is where you're going to be able to turn on and off various sports. So off looks like this, on looks like this. You can click the Edit Sports button in the bottom to go through and add stuff like a minimum workout duration, whether you have a power meter, and then forcing every run workout in this case, to be based around one of these measures. So power is obviously from a power meter, pace is just your pace, heart rate, rate of perceived exertion, this is like the Borg scale, and simplified RPE, which is perhaps for somebody who is a bit more newer to the app or just wants a simple way to understand how you should feel on a scale. These vary depending on which sport you are talking about. You can also add stuff like bikes. This is really important for our race planner, so I would spend a little bit of time adding this in. If you don't know the CDA, which is the aerodynamics of your bike, you can just leave that blank, and we gather that from sources. Weight's kind of important, so if you do know your weight of the bike, that is, add that there too. So coach, obviously I haven't got a coach, but if you did want to search for a human coach, you can click the plus icon in the coach bit, fill this information out and search for a coach to your liking. It's worth us noting at this point, we don't affiliate with any coaches right now, so you will be sharing your data, private and athletic data with a human coach who is not accredited by us at this time, and you will probably have to pay them additional fee. So here's the workout library where you can search for a workout. If you already know the name, we can just type it in there. It's going to come up with all of the workouts related to that term in the workout library. And as you can see, we can scroll down to see all of the different ones, or we can scroll left to right to see different variations. We call this a family, workout family. And as you can see, there's 4 of these different ones. The shortest one's 48 minutes. Longest one is 1 hour. And if you watch and look at the little blue boxes, you can see that the difference here is just the amount of intervals. So lots of different variations of each workout. If you just want to search for something randomly, you can just go through here, and just fill out these filters. Or, you can ask Hugo for a workout. And we can do this directly from the plan screen too. So if you do find anything or you have any questions, you can use the contact us. We do like it when you send us as much information as possible. Screenshots or videos is really useful to help direct any issues or suggestions to the right place. And lastly, just want to show you the Help Center. Here's where you can find all of the FAQs, the glossary, and the how-to. Okay, so now we're going to go to the plan screen, and I'm going to take you through this. We get plan in the bottom. What we want to do quickly before we do anything else, I want to check that your goals are all up to date and correct. So to do that, click the little week colon and then whatever the week is in yours. It's going to open up this view. So you have the option to pick a monthly view, daily view. We were on weekly, but we're going to click goals. So from here, you can see all of my historic goals and everything that I have coming up. If I want to add a new goal, I'm going to click in the right bottom corner on the config icon, then add new goal. I'm not going to go through this today. We do have a video, in-depth video going through this in the Help Center, and you would have done something similar to this on onboarding anyway. What I am going to do is I'll show you quickly how you can edit a goal. So to do that, we can click Edit Goal. So we're going to go through this fictitious summer triathlon that I've created. You can put a name at the top, you can add a date. As we scroll down, you can see the target of this, discover the distance being just, finishing the race, challenging yourself and having fun, maybe getting a PB, having a great day, enjoying the journey as much as possible in the training too, and then being competitive, which is going to give you quite an aggressive plan, but you really want to hit your PB or be competitive in the field here. This cool little feature that we have now is a custom target time. So if you want to complete it in a certain time, you can input that here. At the bottom, we have the ability to indicate to Hugo how many taper or recovery days you want. So, if you're just going to have fun, maybe you don't need a massive taper or a massive recovery. If you're doing the competitive, maybe you need more. Honestly, over 10 years as a coach, and this is highly individual, so being able to just select these is really cool. Or, select you don't need it at all. So if we go back to the top, you can click on phases, and this shows you every single phase planned for this goal. You can delete it, you can edit it, and stuff like that. Drill down and change the sport or energy distribution and stuff like that. Again, we'll go through this in another video. Sub goals is where you're going to add all of your goals. Now, these commonly are called B or C events, and they're goals that aren't going to drive the training prescription, but are on the way to that. So a common example might be a 5K run that you want to do for fun, turkey trot, that kind of thing, but your main goal might be a marathon. And again, you would click Add Sub Goal and go through this wizard to add that. Now, race plan at the top is drives the race pace workout. So spend a little time here generating that race plan. Again, there's a video in the Help Center that goes into this because it's quite in depth. So click in the little 3 vertical dots in the top right corner of that workout card. You can also delete the goal if you need to. And we can click on it as well just to see an overview of that goal. If you need to, you can click any of the pencil icons here. This goes to that screen I've just showed you. The one next to weekly volume, you click that and it's going to take you to configure the week for this goal. I'm going to show you that when we do the plan screen in a moment. And this one at the bottom, if you click that, it's going to open up where you can add in the specifics of each leg, customize the distance, customize the terrain, what the terrain is like, gravel, track or road, and also whether it's hilly, rolling, climbing. The upload map is important for the race planner. So if you do have a map, a course map, add that there too. So this is really useful if your race doesn't conform with a standard distance. Add other legs, create any sort of event you want. Okay, so now your goals are set up. Let's take a look at that training week. So we're going to click goals in the top and then just click week in the plan view. And there we have my training week. I can swipe left or right to go into the future, into the past. Didn't do much last week, shame on me. And we can see today, Thursday the 3rd, I can toggle on or off to indicate if I want to take a rest day in the same way that I can from the home screen. I can click the View Weekly Summary at the bottom, brings up the summary information for the week. I can click the plus icon below the workout. I can go through the wizard for Hugo to add a session, or I can select one from the workout library, which I showed you earlier. I can click on any individual workout, opens up that workout card I showed you earlier too. I can click and press, drag and drop to move to a different day, drag it in here to delete. And as I move this around, you'll notice that Hugo is going to be able to ask me whether or not I want to move this just for today or for this week or for every week. Now this is a cool little feature that we have now where I can click this and it's going to adjust my configure week, my default availability. In the bottom right corner, you'll notice there's the configure icon again. I'm just going to click this now. Brings up view goals and add new goal, which we've already done. Configure training week is something which we need to go through as well. So this is really important because this tells Hugo your availability, and this is for every week for this goal. So if I open this up, you'll see all of the goals I have listed, have my summer triathlon, and the next one is my 100-mile mountain bike ride. Now I can make small changes by just dragging and dropping or pressing the plus icon to add, toggling on and off. But if I want to make a big change, I'm going to click the pencil icon alongside weekly volume. This opens this wizard where I can do stuff like simply telling Hugo that I want to do a little bit less training if I want to go easier, or if I want a more aggressive or harder plan, I can click this on too, or the ideal for you, or just enter a custom. I'm just going to go ideal for you. When we're done, I'm going to click next. And here and now I'm configuring the weekly volume per workout. So if I open up these, you can see all of the different options that I have and the default regular and long workouts. So we're just going to take this, the cycling workouts. The default time for these maximum ranges from an hour to an hour and 15, and the long up to 4 hours and 40 minutes. If I want to change that, I can change the day the long ride is on, or I can go in here and I can manually select a different duration. So let's just say I want workouts up to 2 hours for a regular workout, and for a long workout, I want to do 6. I'm going to do that in there. I can close that down, do it for each individual sport. I can choose a different amount, so maybe I don't want to do any swim for this goal. Maybe I want to do an extra run. And then when I'm done and I'm ready, I've configured everything, we're going to click Generate My Training Week. And Hugo's going to go to work. So from here, I can obviously still move stuff around if it's not quite how I want it, toggle on and off and stuff like that. And then when I'm done, I'm going to click Done in the bottom. We can also add a workout or activity. Activity being something you've completed. Ideally, you'll have the fit file, but if you don't and you've got the data, you can fill it in here. And workout's going to be the workout library, the same way I was showing you earlier. Assess your performance. This is where we can add testing. So we can pick the sport, we can pick the type of test, lots of information. Click the little eye icon if you need more information, pick the date. Hugo's going to recommend based around where your form is going to be the greatest, so where you're going to have be the most recovered is the best way to look at it. And then when you're done, just add it to your calendar. Once you've completed the test, all of your metrics get updated, and I'll show you an example of that in a bit. If you need to replan, you can click the replan. The video in the help center on the differences or how to understand replanning versus automatic replanning. Range actions are really cool. This is making it easier to delete a range of workouts from date to date if you want to do that. If you want to lock them, what this does is stops Hugo from changing them when you run a replan. Unlock is obviously the opposite. And then availability. I showed you a little bit of this earlier. The plus icon is going to allow you to add injury and sickness. But here's all of the other availability. You can scroll back, see I wasn't too well with the flu. And you can see all the recovery planned by Hugo. So as you can see now, I've made some changes. So in the top, you can see Hugo is replanning. Just below that is a little icon which opens up that configure training week, which we've already been through. As you can see, I completed a run on Tuesday. If we open this up, we can have a look at some of the data. Here's some feedback from Hugo. We can scroll down. We can look at all of the detail through this. Just remember this little bit where it says progressive pace. This is where I've already completed this. If you haven't, you'll say something different. but filling this out helps inform the fatigue detection model. So try to do this for every workout. You've got a map there. I'm not going to show it because it's going to show you my house, but you can go to the graph and you can have a look. This is my heart rate, my pace, and my power for this run. Scroll down. We can see, the various different measurements, and we can see that for, I didn't do a very good job actually. There was supposed to be no zone 2. I did a lot there. Didn't do any laps. Obviously, I just went out and ran. But if you did laps, if you had different laps, you'd see that there as well. So as you can see, yesterday I missed my workout. So if I click on that, it's going to open that. Now I said earlier about marking it's completed, the data got lost. But you can actually also click that reschedule in the top right, and you could put that in. I can put that in for tomorrow if I want to. Last little thing to show you on this screen, if we open up the workout and we click the 3 vertical dots there, we can change the workout. So the version I showed you in the workout library earlier, as you can see, we've got the shortest version, 39 minutes, the longest of 1 hour and 9 minutes, and that totally changes the amount of intervals and change the date or the time if you want to. We can change the guide based on. So this is really useful if normally you do all of your workouts to one measurement, but maybe that measuring device, like your heart rate monitor, your power meter is broken, or maybe you've gone to a different area and you can no longer train to a certain measurement, but it's a one-off. You can do that here. If we want to change the workout entirely, we can click the pencil icon next to the name. Here you can see all of the variations in more detail, or I can go down, I can select from the workout library or ask Hugo to do that for me. If you want to invite your friends, you can do so by clicking this. Again, locking it from here, deleting it. Maybe you couldn't find it in your device, so you can click this to push it to that device. And if you want to duplicate because you want to see this on the calendar, again, you can click that. So here you can see we've now landed on my social feed. Now I can scroll down and see some of the different posts and activities. I can press on the like button on any of these, react, leave a comment. If I want to post, I can click the little plus icon in the bottom, attach a video, a picture, document, and that will go to the general feed. So this is where everybody you're connected with, in the Friends tab, they see your feed. So if you want to add some friends, do that with the little button in the bottom right. Go through the contacts on your phones or send individual emails. If we want to filter the feed, we can use this drop down towards the top. You can check activities only, posts only. As you can see, these are posts, and you can see the group which this has been posted into. And then media only is the last one. So if we go to the Groups tab now, this is where all of the groups that I'm a member of, they're all shown here. I can join a new group, fill out these boxes and search for something, or I can create a group, go through all of this, start my own group. Groups are really cool. They're just a useful place to have specific topics or train for a common goal. So as you can see, Escape from Alcatraz group there. And here's my Unbroken group, which we're going to open. So we land on the group feed, specific to Unbroken VTC. You can see my posts in here, some featured posts. Again, can filter the feed in the same manner that you can the social feed. And if I want to post, I can just click there and add something. Now we can see the group calendar. You can see all of the workouts that are available for members of my Unbroken group to do. I can click the little 3 vertical dots next to one to join. I can join one workout as in just this workout of the week, or I can join them all if it's a regular recurring one. I can add to the calendar, and of course, because I'm the group leader, I can edit and delete. So the gallery is going to store all of the photos and videos. There's none in here, it's just because it's a copy of the live group. I can click members and see all of the members of the group. As I'm a leader, I can make them co-leader or add tag or remove them too. In the top right, you'll notice those 3 vertical dots. Here, we can open up my settings for the group. This is for everybody. You will have this as it being a normal member. And then as a group leader, you can also edit the settings too. Opt into the leaderboard, change how I receive notifications or who from, and the achievements board opt in too. So here we are on the new progress screen, and as you can see, there are 6 main areas that we can cover. Now there is a video in the Help Center that's going to go through this in much more detail, but for this demo I'm just going to go through each of them and skim them, show you what each means and how you can adjust some of the graphs. However, before I do that, I want to click Lab Report in the top. Now I'm not going to go through this in great detail neither, but if I was to open this by just clicking this, we can see that first I've stolen the boss's account because he's been to the lab and had it. But also, if you go to a human-powered health performance lab, the results and the report can be pushed into the HumanGO app and also adjust all of your account automatically. Now to schedule a visit, you're going to click that at the bottom. It's going to open up the human-powered health website where you can see all of the current locations. And if I was to click on any of those, it's going to help me schedule an appointment. Alongside from Lab Report is the activity logs. Now this is all of your activities that you've logged within HumanGO. So we can scroll through, see Eric's previous activities, and if I want to, I can filter through and search. Now this is really useful if you're looking for a specific activity. But if we head back to the overview now, start going through each of these in a moment, but as you can see in the bottom right, there's a plus icon. So if I click on this, here is how you can add manually each individual metric. So the first one's aerobic and metabolic. So if I click on that, you'll open it up and we can see I've got Eric's threshold information here. Scroll down and see a threshold graph, heart rate zones because I'm currently on heart rate for running, but I can go across, I can see Eric's pace zones, power zones for running, I can change sport to cycling, see his threshold, see the zones, and if I want to, I can click the plus icon in the bottom right, manually add this, and I can change the zones by clicking the pencil icon next to the zones. One cool ability that we have now is to change the date range. So if I click the date at the top, you can see I have all of these various different measurements. I'm just going to do year to date for now. So that's Jan 1st, April 4th. And if I click backwards, you can see the same time period for last year. This is really cool to just be able to compare certain time periods, so maybe certain parts of your season. If I click the hamburger icon in the top right, you can see it opens up all of the entries into Eric's account. So as you add tests, as you assess your performance, if you have a lab report, you see all of that pull in here. So for body composition, I'm going to click that. And this is essentially taking information from a scale that you've had connected. And as you can see along the bottom, see the total weight, and then what that looks like in terms of muscle mass, body fat, BMI, and so on. Again, we can change the date range here, and in the bottom, we can click the plus sign and add that manually. For sleep, again, this is going to pull from a wearable. You can see all of the sleep Eric's had over the last month. Average at the top there, all the different phases of sleep. And again, plus icon to manually add. Click the date range to change the date range. So for health metrics, here we have average resting heart rate, average heart rate variability, heart health, which is a graph showing your resting heart rate and heart rate variability, and then daily perception graph at the bottom too. Again, this pulls from a wearable, such as Apple Health, Garmin, or you can press the plus icon in the bottom right and add it manually. Goal stats, so this is specific to the certain goals, so obviously different to what I showed you earlier for me. We've got Roth Triathlon, Berlin Marathon, and so on. And I can change between the different goals to see how Eric is doing on the road to that. And the fitness chart there, blue line we want to see going up over a long period of time, depending on your starting point and the end point or the target point. training zones, timing zone at the bottom, compliance. Scroll back up, we can change it between the different sports as well. So the last thing here is activity stats, so we're going to open this up, obviously an activity map, total stats, activity perception, which is the intensity relationship to the average mood and average RPE reported by Eric, fitness chart again, and we can go through this for sport and see stuff like cardio efficiency, heart rate dip coupling, efficiency factor, Eric's peak stats. And that's it for this demo. So last thing I'm going to do is just remind you how to find the rest of the videos. That's to click the More button and then the Help Center, and then you land on the how-to videos. All the way through these, the different categories, you'll be able to find something specific. And of course, any issues, feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching.